So the setup for this video is going to be a little bit different. First, how I'm going to run this range day, because I just had a range day Saturday. It was my bachelor party. It was amazing, but I didn't get a whole lot of short range or handgun training in. I mean, we did hit steel at 300 yards with handguns, but that's not really anything that I would advise training for. So for this video, I'm going to start out with the Bear trigger isolation group, and then I'm going to move to just practicing stance, because based on my last video, everybody wants to see a better stance. So that's going to be a whole bunch of draw, one shot, reholster, reset, do it again. I have new targets out here for today. The target behind me is kind of like a pistol training target, where when you miss, it'll tell you kind of what you did. It'll tell you what they think you did, which will be really helpful for the draw, one shot, reholster. But it's not going to be incredibly helpful for trigger isolation, just because that's a whole different thing than two-handed shooting. Second off, this video is a little bit late. That's because I spent a ton of ammo Saturday, and so today's going to be a really short day. We have a lot of wedding stuff going on. Saturday was my bachelor party. Friday night was the bachelorette party. And then next weekend's the wedding. So, also Saturday, I had my first ever malfunction with the FN. It was a failure to lock back on the last round after 6 or 7 mags of suppressed shooting at the range that day. And so far, I'm at about 1,600 rounds total. About 500 of suppressed, and I haven't cleaned the gun once, so that's still impressive. If you're ever in a situation where you need to use your handgun for more than 1,500 rounds and you can't clean it, just the fact that this handgun's remaining reliable for that whole time is impressive. And it was a minor failure, in my opinion, because it fed every single round and fired exactly like it should. It just failed to lock back on the last round. However, once it actually starts encountering real failures that, prohibit the use of it for any real combat or any real, defensive use, that's when I'm going to do an in-depth breakdown and clean it on camera and review it, because then it'll be officially kind of torture tested. As for my upcoming schedule, next weekend's the wedding. So Saturday is the wedding. Sunday, I have church and then a lunch for a very close relative. Probably won't get a range day in next weekend. If I do, it'll be extremely short. So then's the honeymoon, and that will be more of my training on the beach. I won't be shooting on the beach, but I will be doing, physical fitness training, because physical fitness is just as important as being able to shoot a gun proficiently in what we're training for. And then I get back from the honeymoon on a Sunday. So next weekend you may or may not have a range day. Next week you should have a video on physical fitness and training on the beach, training in unconventional ways, because I didn't get a condo or cottage, however you want to phrase it, that had a gym. It does have a pool, but most of my training will be done with GoRuck sandbag on the beach, just running, doing squats, doing lunges, stuff like that. As a side note, the Griffin optic that I wanted for the FN, the GMS, came in. I am just waiting on a plate. However, the optic comes with a riser to mount it on like a rifle platform, and so far I've been very impressed. I'm excited to have it on handgun, and that will be torture tested to just about the same extremes as the FN is right now. So without further ado, we're going to get into shooting. We're going to do the bear trigger isolation drill, and then just practice our stance, practice drawing from the holster, and then we're going to go for a full mag of just hitting the target. So with the bear isolation group, all of them were within the red circle. I'll post a picture up on the post-production. All of them were within the big red circle. 7 of them were within the little red circle, and I didn't have anything on the outer circle. So honestly, not too terrible. I'm going to go ahead, take a picture of that, and then cover it up with the included stickies, and move on to, or hold on, what does Bear call them? Cover them up with the included pasties. There you go. That seems more appropriate. And go ahead and switch over to just practicing stance. So as you can see, all of those are within what is considered acceptable by Birchwood Casey, which, given that most of them were single-handed shots, and at 10 yards, that's really not that bad. It's not perfect. I still have some training to go, but it is not that terrible. So now we're going to move on to dry firing for the first few reps. Always verify your weapon is clear. Yep, looks pretty clear. Dry firing for the first few reps, and then we're going to load in a live mag and practice, getting on target and firing that first shot. Once I get the Griffin microsight on here, it's going to be a lot of change. That is an enclosed emitter red dot, so it'll be similar to when I was training with the Vortex, except it won't get fucked up by the rain. So now we're going to move on. I've pasted the target, including the little red dot they give you for the center, and we're going to move on to that and see how I do. So I could count 9 that were not bullseyes that are new hits. However, the center of that target is fairly torn up. I'm sure I got a couple more bullseyes in there. Was it 6? It might have been. But there's one other area where the pasties fell off that I could have gotten a couple of hits. All within the acceptable standards, and I will have a picture post-production for you. Now it's time to move on to a different target because this one is thoroughly eaten up, and just see how accurate I actually am. So you'll be able to see this post-production. The target that I put up has center mass A zone, a head A zone, and then 2 individual targets to the left and right of the head. I think I might try to start off with a Mozambique drill, which is 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. We'll see how that goes. I'm not expecting to be super fast with a 45. And then I may just try to hit, as many A zones as possible, but we'll see where, see where the day takes us. So I really do have a problem aiming low. Not aiming low, hitting low. I had two outliers on the chest, 2 outliers on the head. The rest of them were within the 4x8 A zone of the chest. But then the 3 on the head were really like right here, which wouldn't be comfortable to be shot in, but it's not really where you want to be aiming and hitting. The ones in the chest were mostly right here. I might have been a little low on the A zone. Mostly right here. A couple of them right here, which still suck. One of them right here. All of it sucks, really. I mean, realistically, ideally, you don't want to be getting shot, but if you were to get shot, either way. Either way, if you were to get shot, you'd rather not be hit in the A zones, is kind of what they try to train you for. A-zones realistically are just a precision training guide. They teach you to be more accurate because there's degrees of accuracy, and if you can hit closer to what you're aiming for, then it really doesn't matter if it's dead center of the chest or the heart or the head. You know, there's degrees of accuracy, which is why, like for the bear trigger isolation, typically I've been warming up on a 6-inch round piece of metal, because if I can hit a 6-inch round piece of metal, I can hit what I'm aiming at, no matter what I'm aiming at. So I'll have a picture of this post-production. It wasn't the best. The other two magazines were honestly better for this range day, but either way, you're entitled to see it. And you now know what I have coming up the next couple of weeks, so you know what to expect. I appreciate you sticking around. I appreciate all the advice that I've been getting from previous videos, and I'm hoping to work towards being a better shooter.